Hi everyone, it's Daniel Collins here. We're here for the final week 1 of the West Coast Pokemon League between Alexander Bray on the left with the Ultra Ball playmat and Cale Vickery on the right with the Dragon playmat and the Dragon sleeves. These players are both playing Darkrai Hydreigon variants. Both have a couple of little different techs, and it looks like Cale will go first. Cale starting with Sableye and Alexander starting with Darkrai. Cale plays Sharon, drawing 3. Plays down a Dino. Now most Hydreigon players play the dark version of Dino, just to avoid playing the Dragon type in case of Shiny Rayquaza in the turn 1 donk. So good to see Cale's taking up the dark Dino there. Also plays Dragon Dino though, so maybe just mixing it up just in case of fighting, and goes with the Confuse Ray with Sableye and confuses Darkrai. We got Alex playing an Ultra Ball. Let's see what he discards with this. Dark Energy and Juniper, so it's obviously good to get Dark Energy in the discard pile early with Dark Patch. Let's see if he happens to... Oh, he gets a Darkrai. I was expecting maybe a Sableye, but no, he goes with the Darkrai instead. Yeah, attaches a dark patches, so he's got 2 energy on the field turn 1, which is always good, and then ends. So this was obviously the first week of the West Coast Pokemon League. For those of you who don't know, it's held at Tactics in Perth, WA. And it's a fortnightly tournament where at the end we will be sending somebody to Australian Nationals. So that's the prize everybody's playing for week by week. They accumulate points, and then at the end we'll send the leader to Nationals. And then obviously there are also weekly prizes at the same time. Yeah, we'll just wait for the guys to shuffle in. Looks like Alex is playing another Ultra Ball. See if he discards some more Dark. Yep, Dark and a Sableye it looks like. And gets out a Dino. So obviously with these Darkrai Hydreigon decks, obviously it's the race to try and set up Hydreigon. And that gives you the opportunity to be able to move your Dark Energies around at will, kind of like Kling Klang. Except obviously with Dark Energy instead of Metal. And these decks you often see a different range of techs. I believe Alex in his deck's playing Virizion from Noble Victories with Double Draw. Meanwhile, I think Cale plays Tornadus from Emerging Powers and Tornadus EX. We see Cale here, Rare Candy into Hydreigon. And then Random Receivers. That's good, at least we didn't have to flip over half a deck to try and get a supporter. Because I'm sure most of you are aware, we tend to flip through half a deck using Random Receiver, showing our opponent pretty much what we're playing before we get a supporter. And then Cale obviously plays the end he drew off that Random Receiver. So they both draw 6. And we'll see what Cale does for the rest of his turn. So he's gonna use Hydreigon's ability, which I believe is Dark Trance, to move the Dark to Hydreigon. To Darkrai. Sorry, and then passes to Alex. I think here Alex is just checking about the retreating with Confusion. And obviously Confusion only affects attacks, not retreating. So he's free to retreat with Darkrai, even though it is confused, and then obviously once it retreats to the bench it is no longer confused. I would suspect that maybe based on that Alex would have Rare Candy Hydreigon. He'll maybe retreat that Darkrai and promote the other Darkrai with 2 Darks on it, and then Dark Trance that Dark Energy up to the active. And looks like what's going to happen here. He retreated the active. He also played down that Virizion that I talked about. No, and he just ends, so he must be chasing that Rare Candy Hydreigon combo. Or actually, possibly just a Dark Energy. Because I believe he attached that Full Art Darkrai and then Dark Patched twice to that, yep. And so he attaches an Eviolite. 2 Eviolites. Eviolites are very important in the mirror match, especially when it's Darkrai versus Darkrai, the main attackers in both these decks. Eviolite obviously is going to turn a 2-hit knockout with Night Spear into 3-hit knockout, and will obviously also protect against any 1-hit KOs from a Terrakion Retaliate. Not that either of these players play Terrakion, but obviously that's the reason Eviolite's in there, is to protect against that Retaliate attack. As you see, he knocked out the Sableye with Night Spear, also dropped 30 on the Dino. Maybe in that case I would have maybe put 30 on the Hydreigon, not the Dino, and then next time you Night Spear, you put another 30 on the Hydreigon, putting 60 on it, leaving it with 90 health, and then it's just to catch a Night Spear away from knockout. But obviously trying to put it on the Dino just to make sure there's no other Hydreigon's going to get set up. Cale attaches another blend to that Darkrai. So now that Darkrai is powered up, ready to Night Spear. So you'll probably see maybe a Dark Trance up to the Active's Wireless, and then a free retreat. And yep, so that's what happens. And he catches the Dino, which is a strong move. It's the only Dino that Alex has had out at the minute. And that's obviously going to stop his Hydreigon setup. And he knocks out that Dino, puts 30 on the Virizion. Because obviously if you put that extra damage on either of those Darkrai's, it'd only be doing 10 because of the Eviolite. So putting 30 on the Virizion's fine. Also sets it up just for a catch and knockout later, now that you've knocked out Dino. So you don't have to knock out 3 Darkrai's anymore. You just have to knock out the 2. But Alex has something to say about that with the Max Potion. Max Potion's away the damage off Virizion, and then Bianca's for 5, I believe. And then plays Level Ball. We'll obviously look for another Dino. And let's see if Alex can get this Hydreigon in play and start moving these energies around and max potioning away the damage and just keeping these Darkrai's alive. Sorry a bit about the camera work. This is actually me filming and I had to hold the camera, so it gets a bit hard trying to hold your arm in one place for a long amount of time, so any apologies for any moving in the camera. But Alex Night Speared again, hitting the active Darkrai and putting another 30 on that wireless. See again, if you had to hit the Hydreigon again, would there be 60 sitting on that Hydreigon? Again, just to catch a Night Spear away from knockout, taking away Cale's ability to move energy around and heal off his damaged Pokemon. So what happened there, I think Alex must have forgotten to take a prize at some point. Maybe for the Sableye that he knocked out earlier. So that must be just fixing that up there, and that's just me straightening out the prizes so I can see how many each player has left. It's kind of hard to see how many Alex has left because of the black sleeves on the black playmat, but Cale Ultra Balled for that Hydreigon, and then catch it out Alex's Dino, and then Night Speed it for the knockout, and put 30 on Virizion again. So, as you can see on Cale's side, he retreated that damaged Darkrai and promoted a fresh one, which is obviously the advantage with Hydreigon. You can just have a fresh attacker every turn, just move all the energies. If you have lucky enough to draw a Max Potion, and this is the problem if you don't have Max Potion. You have that damaged attacker on the bench, and Alex plays the catcher and catches it back up, and looks like Alex will be eventually knocking out this Darkrai. Just see what else he does during his turn. And he Night Spears. If it was me, I'd be putting 30 on the other Hydreigon. So we'll just see where this 30 goes. Yep, alright, so he puts it on the other Hydreigon, which is good. So next time he Night Spears, he can just drop 30 on that Hydreigon again, and then both the Hydreigons are sitting at 60. Just a Night Spear away. Oh. Yeah, and Cale is playing Tool Scrapper. Card that's played in, I would say, majority of decks now. There's a 2 of. Obviously, in case anyone plays Garbodor, to take tools off Garbodor, but it's also very good in mirror matches, Darkrai versus Darkrai, to remove Eviolites. And Cale put, obviously, Night Speed again for 90 on the active Darkrai, and put 30 on the other Darkrai now that has no Eviolite. So, and we see a golden catcher, and this is what I was talking about before. When you are playing Darkrai, you need to be very diligent with where you put your 30 damage, and you need to set up knockouts for later in the game. And obviously this is what Alex has done. He's dropped damage on that Hydreigon, captured it up, and it's waiting to be knocked out by Night Spear. But Alex is Ultra Ball, discarding a Sigilyph and a Zweilous. So obviously Sigilyph in there in case maybe he runs into a straight Darkrai deck. Which obviously will be able to buy him a few turns. Although Sigilyph is good, I think it's just easy just to catch her around. You can take enough prizes by capturing around Sigilyph that it doesn't become as much of a problem as everyone thinks it is. So we just see the retreat here of the heavily damaged Darkrai into Darkrai with only 40 on it. And then we see the eventual Night Spear knockout of the Hydreigon. And do you put 30 somewhere? Maybe put 30 on that Hydreigon. I'm not quite sure. I must have missed that. Alright, so let's see where Cale goes from here. He's gonna... Wow, this is actually very good. This is Hydreigon has a move. I'm not quite sure what the attack is. The name eludes me, but it takes a Psychic, 2 Darks, and a Colourless. I think it's Dragon Blast, actually, now that's come back to me, and does 140, and with that active Darkrai just having 40 on it, he's able to attack with Dragon Blast, discard the 2 Dark, and take the knockout. But we see Alex finally gets his Hydreigon going with a rare candy in the Hydreigon. And he also dark patches to Darkrai and attaches a blend to Hydreigon. But we'll see all those darks move up to the active. And max potion away the damage, and that's just the strength of this Hydreigon deck. It's like the Kling Klang deck that John Roberts took to the US Nationals and won with. It's just basically few attackers. You only need about 4 or 5 energy on the field, and then you just move it around, max potion, move it back, and you got a fully healed, fully powered up Darkrai ready to go. Again, Cale, random receiver for Juniper. Gets another Darkrai, so that's good for Cale. He hasn't got that lone attacker. Attaches a Dark, and he will Dark patch for another Dark. And see, now Cale has the problem that he has not enough energy on the field. No Hydreigon set up. But he does manage to get another Dark patch off Juniper, so now he does have the fully powered Darkrai sitting on the bench, but as he has already attached this turn, he won't be able to get that Darkrai out of the active. Because obviously, because of Darkrai's Dark Cloak ability, these decks don't run Switch. Because of that, maybe they're able to be taken advantage of by things like a Selgor that will paralyze, and if the Selgor player can get that loop going, Darkrai is just stuck. Those decks just don't run Switch because of Darkrai's ability. But the problem with the Selgor is it's very, very slow to set up and get that loop going. You have to go through a lot of your deck, and that just takes time. There's only so many supporters you can play a turn. There is no Smeargle in the Black-White on format anymore, so you can't be playing like 2 supporters a turn. But that Eviolite on that Darkrai will... I would have probably put that Eviolite on the fully powered Darkrai, because that Darkrai sitting there active is still a 2-hit knockout. Oh no, hang on. That Eviolite will make it a 3 hits with Night Speed and knock it out. Let's see, this is the thing, all that energy's on that Darkrai. Alex just catches it out, and he will Night Spear for 90, and obviously only put the 10 on the bench Darkrai. Now you see pretty much Alex is fully set up. Hydreigon with a blend out there, so if he ever needs to use Dragon Blast, he can. He has a fully powered, full health Darkrai active, and has a pretty much fully powered, full health Darkrai on the bench. I believe at this point he might only have the 1 prize left. You can kind of see the 1 prize over there on the mat. It blends in very well, but I believe he only has 1 prize left to Cale's 2. But at this stage, you're going to be knocking out Darkrai, so you're going to be taking 2 prizes each. So it's pretty much first to knock out the other person's Darkrai. And you see Cale Sharon for 3. And attach, so he'll be able to retreat. And that's catcher for the game. So that is game 1 of the final of week 1.